Today we're going to paint a full moon in a nighttime sky. Now to make our moon look like it is shining, we're going to be creating some tints. Tint is when you add white to a color to make it lighter. So to start with, we are going to take some white paint and we are going to paint a full circle moon. You choose what side of the paper your moon is going to go on. I remember that I put my jar on this side of the paper, so I'm going to have my moon go on the opposite side. You also want your moon to be sort of near the top. That way your jar will not cover it up when we add that part. Okay, after you've painted your moon, you're going to take some more white paint and go around it. So you're making kind of like a big ring of white around that moon. Now into this white paint, we're going to start blending a little bit of our nighttime sky colors. So I have some blue that we're going to be using for that. So I'm just getting the tiniest, ooh, might be too much, let me wipe it off. Tiniest little bit of blue, and you can even wipe on your towel if you think you got a little too much. It's always good to start with the tiniest bit possible, and then you can always add more in as you go. Now, while this white paint is still wet around my moon, I'm going to start to add that color and blend it in. And I'm glad that I wiped off that extra because it looks like I already probably have enough. Now, when I mix this blue into the white, it's creating a tint of blue. So it's like a really, really, really light color. And it makes it look like the full moon is shining in the sky. Now, as we get farther away from the moon, our paint colors are going to start getting a little bit darker. So I'm still going to add more white because it is still going to be a tint, but I'll probably be adding just a little bit more blue. So using a lot of paint. Don't be afraid, we can always get more. But if you don't use enough paint, your colors are going to start drying out and dry paint will not blend. So now I'm going to get a little bit bigger scoop of blue and kind of dab that in around my second layer. And my goal is to have this tint be a little bit darker than the one before it. So we're sort of creating a value scale a little bit on our painting with our sky colors. If you want it to be a little bit darker, you could add a teeny tiny bit more, but I actually kind of think I got lucky. I got it right on the first try. Now, where your two colors are touching, you can kind of blend that together a little bit. If you want to. I'm just going to be careful that I don't lose this original one. I want all my different tints to kind of show. And it's not perfectly blended. You can sort of see my brush strokes a little bit, but I actually kind of like that. So you blend it as much as you want. If you can still see brush strokes, that's okay. Now I'm going to go on to the next layer, still adding quite a bit of white. And I'm starting to kind of go off the page too. So that's all right. I'm obviously just going to stop my color when I get to the edge and just sort of imagine where that circle is going, like this. Okay. And then I'm going to blend that in until I have it one more step darker. While you're painting, if your colors get a little bit too dry to mix, try using just one little dip of water to help you blend those colors a little bit better. Now, eventually, your tints of blue are going to start to get pretty close to our original color of blue paint. So I think that this next circle that I do is probably just going to be plain blue. If I think I want to mix a little bit of white into it, I can, but eventually we're going to really be using mostly blue once we've gotten past that initial first part. Once we've created our just plain blue area, we might need to get even darker still. So from here on out, I might even start making some shades of blue to make my sky get even darker as we keep moving away from the moon. So I always start with the lightest color. So even though blue is really dark, it's still lighter than black. Black is the darkest. So I'm gonna just add some blue. And black is super, super strong. You really, really do not need a lot of black whenever you are creating your shades. So I'm just gonna get the tiniest little dip to start mixing that in. Adding a little water if I need help blending it. And once again, the goal is that we are trying to go from light and then gradually get darker. So this just needs to be a little tiny bit darker than our original blue. And then with my next layer, I could maybe add a little bit more black. And I'm just gonna keep on going until my entire paper is full. Once you get to the end of your value scale, you'll just fill the rest of your paper with black paint. When all of your paper has been painted all the way to the bottom, your background is complete.